Hey, and welcome to the Voices of Persevere podcast. I'm Jake, your host, and these are the stories behind the statistics, the people who prove that transformation isn't just possible, but that it's happening right now. And I have Mark Clark with us today. Mark, so good to meet you, man. We visited yesterday a little bit. To get us started off, just tell us a little bit about who you are, what's going on in life right now, what engineering looks like at Gusto.
It's a good intro. I like it. Um, so, Gusto. I've been a software engineer at Gusto for about 3 years, level three engineer. Right now, I'm currently leading a pretty big project across multiple platforms. So, Android, iOS, web, and an individual kiosk app that we use for like tablets or local computers for clocking, employee clocking. It's been fun. Leading a project isn't always the easiest, but it's great opportunities to be challenged. It is really cool to see myself at this point where I've gone from learning code in class to actually leading projects on larger teams. So that's good. The AI world is changing the way we do code. We're automating a lot of processes. But there's still a lot of engineering intervention and a lot of learning. It is a fun time. It is a fun time, but definitely more of a learning curve than I expected.
For sure, for sure. Hey, when we visited yesterday, I know that you told me that you've got some amazing boys who are full into athletics. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, I've got three boys, 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Both my 12 and 8-year-old are in baseball and soccer. They've recently gotten into dirt bikes thanks to mom, who encouraged me to buy some dirt bikes for Christmas. That's going well. My 2-year-old looks up to his bigger brothers, so he loves baseball, loves soccer. It's pretty adorable. It's good.
That's awesome, man. So I'm just making an assumption here, but it sounds like if you've got everybody going in that many different directions, there's not a lot of downtime for Mark. It sounds like you roll on all cylinders pretty much all the time.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. It keeps you on my toes. I'm typically up at like 4:30 in the morning to get my
Wow.
my own time in, right?
Yeah.
Get my own time in, get some work done before the kids are up and off to school. And then same thing at night. It's like other like tonight we've got sports, tomorrow we've got sports. So I have to get as much work done as I can, do the kid thing, and then get them to bed and then finish up. So it's pretty
Sure.
busy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for sharing, man. So let's go back in time, right before all of the stuff, right? I mean, you had a successful career in fitness and in personal training. So talk to us a little bit about what drew you to that work initially.
It happened kind of on accident. I was 16. I needed a job, and there was a local gym in my hometown that I went and applied to, and I was hired as front desk. And that got me into working out and learning from some local bodybuilders that were just wanting to help the new kids, right? The youngsters learn the process. So I started working out with some friends from high school. And then from that facility, I ended up becoming a manager at one point. And then I just left and moved on to a bigger club. And then moved on to a bigger club. And then, 6 years later, it was like, well, what do you want to do with your life? It was like, well, I'm doing it. Right. So I went and became a personal trainer. And then started my own personal training business. And I actually moved to from Chicago to Scottsdale to open a personal training studio.
That's
Um,
awesome.
m- yeah, that was about 9 years ago. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I kind of just fell into it and became really passionate about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And from our visit yesterday, I know that that's still something that's very important to you, not only personally but also professionally. And so that's just really exciting, man. Talk to us about when everything fell apart, right? What did that look like, and what was going through your mind during those lowest points? Just kind of walk us through.
Yeah, it's I could probably talk about all the bad things for a year straight. Um To summarize it, uh, my partner at the time, the mother of my children, had developed a substance abuse problem or drug addiction, right? If we want to keep it keep it simple. And I didn't understand what that meant. To me at the time, it was like, okay, you do drugs, you don't do drugs. Sometimes you do, like just stop. It's like, what do you mean you're addicted, right? To me, I didn't recognize that that was a major thing. And over years, it just wore us down in and out of facilities, trying chaotic relationship, managing kids in a business. It became way too much. And you care about somebody and you sacrifice a lot. I sacrificed the most, but I also lost parts of me through the process, where in the end, after years and years of success, no success, regression, um, I pretty much lost everything. I ended up in a situation where family court was involved. Our relationship was chaotic, and I hit a depression state where I couldn't function, right? So, lost my home, losing my home, lost my cars, lost my business, really bad timing for everything. And, I just hit that breaking point where I had nothing, and then in the streets. And kind of once I hit that pattern, which we call the F it stage,
Yeah.
right? Where it was pretty much like, I have nothing. What is the point, right? And I began using drugs myself, which is pretty amazing. That I spent my whole life not thinking that that was ever a deal or an issue, and then I became consumed in it myself. And then I committed crimes. I stole cars. I burglarized homes. I did a lot of things that I shouldn't have done, as a self-destructive pattern. It was basically like I stopped caring about myself, and this became my new distraction. Um, and it's insane. It's insane to think about the mental state that I was in. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Man, thanks for being vulnerable with that and for sharing that. So that trajectory led to incarceration, right? Which is how so many of our stories kind of unfold, right? Talk to us about the first time you heard the word associated with the institution, persevere.
Yeah. So I did about a year in jail before my sentencing, and then I ended up in one prison facility. I think it was about 6 or 7 months in to my time when and my mental state was still bad. Still bad. I had no clue how I was going to get through what I was going through, recover from everything, all the damage from previous that I was hiding and running from, and then all the new damage that I caused. That was pretty tough. I was not in a good mental state, and I woke up. I woke up one morning, and we typically get these papers we call chronos, which is like you have to go somewhere at this time, or you have to be present here. And one chrono on my desk was a Persevere interview. Right, I didn't know much about it, but it did say Persevere, opportunity for some sort of schooling. Didn't talk about much code. It was literally like this big. So going in, having no clue about it, I went in, and Sean Hausman was there, and began speaking to maybe 50, 70 of us, somewhere under 100. I remember that much. And Sean began talking about the Persevere program, coding, what it meant, how powerful it was, what the salary ranges were for engineering, which was cool. And for me, this was like I like working my brain, right? I've done some like web design myself for my companies, very simple, right? Like moving an image or changing the shape of something or updating text. So this seemed like something I could do during my time that provided some value. So I interviewed and I was accepted. So
Awesome.
that was the start of it.
Yeah. So, man, when you were telling us a little bit about this yesterday, I have to ask you to share the story about asking the warden for books and writing code on paper. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I had a knack for crossing some boundaries with my words and asking people above my pay grade at the time, uh, and communicating to people above my pay grade. So we had a Zoom call. I think we were locked down for COVID with the warden, and I spoke up and had mentioned that we need to learn outside of class, especially with COVID and things being restricted. It was extremely hard. So I requested some books, and we made a list of some topics for some books. And I remember I think my our teacher at the time, or our instructor, looked at me just like, "What are you doing?" But it worked. It worked. We were able to get the warden to donate a lot of books. I think 15 or 17 books. And that was helpful because class is limited, right? Computer time is limited, but learning shouldn't stop. So I gave away my TV, and then I got a new one from somebody, and then I gave it away again, and I replaced it with the books and notebooks. And one person that was in the coding class, who was well experienced, right, told me that in some coding interviews that they would give you a problem and a sheet of paper, and they would have you go write the problem on paper.
Oh,
So I took
wow.
that, yeah. So I took that advice, and I would take the books home, and I started writing code on paper to get familiar with syntax and
That's so crazy.
right. But at the time, if that's what they're interviewing for, I wanted to be ready. So I spent lots of nights writing code and thinking of ideas and studying the books. And that was huge. That was a huge win for all of us in the class.
Yeah. Awesome. Man, that's so great. I know that you mentioned that you had built maybe some websites early on and they were pretty simple and now you're here jumping into software development. Were you able to catch on pretty fast or did you struggle as you were learning? Kind of what was your experience as you were growing into that developer?
It was brutal. It was extremely painful for me. The beginning seemed pretty easy, right? HTML, CSS was pretty easy to adapt to, right? Simple rules, fun to play with, right? Fun to figure things out. But when it got into actual like coding, right, JavaScript, functions, methods, variables, um, all of it seemed, uh, it was alien to me, right? I didn't understand any of it. And I felt that team members or other classmates understood it and they were doing great things. And I would go home and just like determined to figure it out. But one point, 6 months in. So I was in this program for 6 months, and I hit this point where I sat in my chair, and I remember looking at the wall and just saying, I literally said, my brain is just not built for this. Like I'm just not built this way. Um, but I continued, right, and um, yeah, I continued, and then at some point, I actually do remember the point. I do remember, the turning point, and, I was working on a calendar, and I was trying to figure out how to paginate the calendar from month to month, because we didn't really have libraries, right? Very limited, if I think at the time there was no internet access, right? Um, and I finally figured it out. This may be a little too complex for the chat, but I figured out that I can manage an index and control what month based on the index. And then as soon as I figured that out, it opened up the whole idea of engineering is building things this way. And that was a really big aha moment for me.
Man, that's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. You mentioned that you were well into the program, 6 months into the program, and then things kind of began to click. I don't want to jump the gun here, but I mean, this is for our audience, right? Specifically, our students that are going through the program right now. If you could give them some advice, those guys that are 6 months in, and gals that are 6 months in, who are feeling like I'm just not getting it, what advice would you give them?
Uh, well, I think the organization's name says a lot, right? Persevere. Um, it's not easy to understand, right? It's learning software development or engineering or coding languages is not a simple task, and it's even harder to learn within an environment that you're constrained, right?
Yes.
Out here in the real world, you have unlimited resources, YouTube videos, chats. You can now use ChatGPT or other learning language models to learn. You have lots of peers. I have tons of very well experienced senior engineers I could pair with. In there, it's limited and it's hard and it's challenging. And that's what makes it great, right? And that's what makes you better, is sticking through it, knowing that you're learning something hard with very limited resources, and just stick through it. Like if I can't imagine if I at 6 months when I told myself I wasn't built for this, if I walked out of that classroom. And I've seen some walk out of the classroom, right, and
Really?
go the other way. And uh, to where I am today, it was totally worth it. Like, you just build the stubbornness to just push through it, have grit, don't give up, and collaborate. Really, everybody should be teaching each other, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Man, one of the things that we're wanting to do with not only the podcast, but with the mission and vision of Persevere is we're wanting to reshape and reframe the mindset about second chances and about how a person's point in their life doesn't define the total person, right? It's not in totality who they are, it's just a part of their journey and their story. What do you want after all of your experiences? What do you want people to understand about second chances?
For so I can give specifics about my second chance and maybe tie it into something a bit more broad. For me, it was my second chance was really being given permission to have made a mistake. And, we talk about unconditional love a lot, right? What is unconditional love? I think a second chance involves unconditional forgiveness, right? There are different
Love that.
levels. Yeah. And there are different levels of severity in mistakes we make in life. And we make mistakes every day. Some of us, our severity of mistakes is a bit higher than others. So it's twofold. It's being told that the mistakes you made are okay, right? That you can be forgiven, but it's more important. What's more important, and what was more important for me, is I received permission to forgive myself, and that was the biggest thing holding me back. Is recognizing the damage that I did, the things that I did, and somebody, or a group of people, and to this day, through Gusto and Persevere and Sean Hossman and my family and friends, a lot of people, right? It's permission to forgive yourself, and that was for me. That was the most important. Is once I received that, it enabled me to see things brighter and to move forward.
I love that. Thanks for sharing, man. So, as we come to a close, what is next for Mark Clark? Like, where do you see yourself going from here?
Well, it's been a fun it's been a fun time with engineering. I'm pretty happy. Life is good. Um, yeah, life is really good. It's pretty amazing to see where I am today. Um, Being a higher level engineer and managing high level projects and across multiple platforms, multiple teams, it's pretty amazing. The next steps for me is to continue expanding my leadership abilities within my role, and seeing how far I could take this. And who knows? One day I may be starting my own software business. We'll see where AI takes us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mark, thanks so much for being with us today. Thanks for sharing your story. I know that our listeners are going to be as encouraged as I have been to get to spend some time with you over the last couple of days. If you're listening, thank you so much for being a part of our time together today. To learn more about our mission and see how you can get involved or support the next generation of tech professionals, visit us at perseverenow.org. That's perseverenow.org. Mark, thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, thank you. Take care, Jake.
You too. Bye bye.